All right. Happy Monday, everybody. Big waves to you. Good to see you. Get them going. All right. Well, our letter for the week is J. So everything's going with the J. So if you want us to look at the word, we've already had a lot of people sending us words they want to look at for J. And we'll come back to it, okay? If we don't get your word, we're coming back to it. So, and hopefully nobody's birthday's today. If it is, let us know in the chats or the comments, because we searched. If you're not friends with us on social media, please become friends with us, because we do not want to miss your birthday. And that's one way we keep up with all birthdays. So, and if we do miss your birthday, well, it's Andrea's fault. Okay. The word for today is jeopardize, which I'm towing the line of jeopardizing our friendship, Andrea. I'm sorry. I was kidding. Jeopardize. And actually, Arlene Hutchinson. Arlene, this is a word you brought up, and I love it. It's actually had me thinking all morning. But if you look at the definition of it, it's put someone or something into a situation in which there is a danger of loss. And then I came across this: never jeopardize a good thing for a new thing. Never jeopardize a good thing for a new thing. Have you ever done that? Let's be a little vulnerable this morning. Have you ever jeopardized a good thing for something new? I call it chasing off in that shiny object territory. Sometimes, in my life at least, I take for granted the constant. Can anybody relate to that? Andrea, maybe unmute your line. Make sure I got good service.
You sound great, Coach.
Okay. Have you ever done that, Andrea, where you've jeopardized the constant, or you've gotten used to the constant? Mm-hmm. Let's just say that you're in business for yourself. So a lot of you got residual income in here, but sometimes that residual income gets constant. It just gets like, well, it's just going to come in every month, every week. Maybe it's just $50 a week, and you get used to it, and you take it for granted. And you go off and chase something new, and you look back, and you crush that little thing that just came in every week. Instead of growing it to make it bigger, you chase something new. That's one form I thought about. But let me tell you something I've done a lot. I call it self-sabotaging. I'm going to be vulnerable with you. But I've had in my life, I'm 47, some things that I didn't feel like deep down I deserved. And I didn't think of it that way, but like I would get money, and I just felt like I didn't deserve it, so I'd find a way to release it. I know that sounds crazy, but I would do that. Like I would just be like, I don't deserve that. I was supposed to be broke. I'm really a person that just lives check to check, and I started making money, and I'm like, I got to release that. I got to get rid of it. It's like, no, you don't. Or I've always lived a life of kind of being overweight. Like I'm not talking about extreme overweight, but just always battled as a kid being overweight. Like I remember playing sports where it'd make you meet a weight criteria, and I'd find myself in a steam room trying to lose some pounds to get on the scales in front of people to see if I could make the weight criteria. It was miserable. But I'd always self-sabotage myself. I'd get to a program, I start feeling good about myself, and then guess what? I'd somehow let self-sabotage creep in. And before I know it, Arlene, guess what I do? I'm eating that ice cream 3 nights a week, 4 nights a week, 5 nights a week, and it comes back. I was doing so good. Why did I stop? I was doing so good in my finances. Why did I stop and feel like I had to go on a buying spree? I was doing so good in my relationship. Why did I have to screw it up for one night of fun? I mean, I can just think of many things that I've done that it's like, why do I self-sabotage? Why do I jeopardize something good to go chase something new? And I really think that probably if we go back in time, I'm personally, I'm not a scholar of the Bible, but I'm probably going to blame Adam and Eve on myself. I like blaming. No, I'm kidding. But I do believe it's in us, it's in our DNA that we have to fight against self-sabotage. And we got to fight against jeopardizing great things because we just feel the need to chase something new, or we just feel the need to scratch that craving that we get. And so that's where I went. I think about this, Andrew, and I'm going to turn it to you. I've jeopardized things in my life because I start to talk negative in my own head.
Mm.
I start to talk negative and start creeping doubt of unworthiness in me. And then before I know it, it's examples like I start refusing to let people help me. I start having conflict with colleagues or loved ones. If I'm not careful, greed will creep in, or my own self-pride or ego will creep in. Or I start searching for approval from others. Like I just am worried about what other people think of me. So I go do something, self-sabotage, jeopardize. Or sometimes I'm just reluctant to speak up for myself and go, no. That's not the direction I'm going. I'm going to stay right here because right here feels good to me. All of those things have cost me and allowed me to creep and experience jeopardizing things in my life. So this was a great word for me. So I know you're going into how do you stop that from happening? You know, I wanted to talk about all the negatives of it, but how do you stop that when you feel that moving in that direction of jeopardizing? Go ahead, Andrew.
Well, I'll do my best on that. So the quote that I found that I loved that, kind of stepped on my toes. It said, if you ignore the past, you jeopardize the future. And I kind of thought about my life and, looking back in the patterns, because we all have some patterns. And in my career, one of the things that I would see was that I would make it about 7 years in a career. And then I would find a way to get myself out of that job, or, I wouldn't switch careers, but I would find a way to get out of that job. And it was all through probably jeopardizing because I was ready for a change, but I didn't really know how to make it happen. So I would create like some chaos in my career. And, we all can find times where we jeopardize ourselves and our futures, or our future, when our actions or thoughts hold us back from accomplishing what we actually want. And I would say that the majority of the time that we do this, we do it without even realizing it. But when it happens, the behavior and the patterns that we're going through are absolutely creating obstacles for ourselves. And I think about like myself, when maybe I have a financial goal and I'm trying to maybe pay off some debt or create a bigger savings account or invest, whatever it may be. And this is in the forefront of my mind, but then I'm looking back at my Amazon purchases and I'm like, I did a lot of purchases this month and I'm just jeopardizing the future that I want for like these little silly things. Or just like Coach said, I really want to get in shape, but I'm jeopardizing that because all I did was settle in on the couch with that bowl of ice cream or, the peanut butter. And, they're just a few examples of what we do to jeopardize ourselves and the future we want. So how do we stop that, right? We all want a little bit more, perhaps, How do we stop stepping on our own toes and tripping ourselves so that we can go create what we want? Well, first of all, we got to notice it. So if you know that you get to a certain spot in your fitness journey and then you fly off the rails, well, we've got to notice what that spot is. We've got to develop that self-awareness to figure out where we are tripping ourselves up. And with that, number 2 is to write it out. Get a journal. Maybe follow yourself through your fitness process and see, you know what? I normally work out every single day and I haven't for 2 days straight. What's going on in my world? Maybe I'm really busy, but maybe I'm not prioritizing health. So what's going on in my world? And keep track of it, because if we write it down, 1, it keeps us honest, but 2, we can look back and we can see where we're truly getting off track. Number 3 is to create a plan and do it. So if you've got a goal, well, get a plan to go get it. If you're looking to live debt-free, or you want to, be a fitness competitor or whatever, I don't know, whatever your goal may be, well, create a plan and write it out and then put it into action. I know that can be easier said than done, but we can all do it because we've all succeeded at something in the past. Number 4 is practice mindfulness. And that just means slowing down, being aware, checking out what's triggering us to get off track, checking, in with what we're doing. Coach talked about that worthiness and all of that. Be mindful about it. And then lastly, this can be a hard one, but number 5 is to communicate. Sometimes we jeopardize what we want because we're afraid of that, the world knowing that we're imperfect. But guess what? Everybody knows already. So if you know that there's a space in your life that you are stopping yourself, that you are creating your own obstacles, where you are jeopardizing yourself, well, share that with somebody. Go get that 2 by 2. So if I say, okay, I know that I'm drinking too much coffee. I know that I'm overly caffeinated. So I call my best friend and say, hey, look, I'm causing myself so much anxiety because I'm drinking 47 cups of coffee a day. Will you help me? And I'm just going to let you know every time I drink a cup of coffee, so that I have to share what I'm doing. So you can say, not that I'm making them responsible, but that I'm being vulnerable enough and open enough to communicate where I need to change and get some help with it. So that's what I found this morning, Coach. Hopefully got you some value. And man, it kind of stepped on my toes to think about the times that we really are our biggest enemy, and we really are the obstacle between where we are and getting what we want.
Well, I did get a lot of value today because I found myself in this constant. And so I really wish you wouldn't have picked coffee, though, while I'm drinking a big cup of coffee. But I mean, that's okay. You could have used alcohol or something. I mean, typically we don't drink early in the morning. But no, I'm kidding. Guys,
Typically.
But no, we hope everybody has an amazing Monday. And Dapo said something on here about loving this community. I had somebody reach out to me last week and said, I cannot believe that you guys are still doing the Coach's Corner 3 years later. And I got to thinking about that. And I'm like, I can't either. I really can't. It wasn't prepared. It wasn't planned. It wasn't something I thought about. But man, am I grateful for it. I mean, this does so much for my little start to the day. It's incredible. And it's because of you guys. So we look forward to you each and every day, and we just want you to know it. So we love you. We appreciate you. And have a great Monday. We'll see you back tomorrow.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.